it looks like Pepe delivered on the show of Wales. Ross is telling us we do have former Texas Ranger. You see the commentary on Fox FS1. Alex Rodriguez joining us on 105.3 The Fan. Good morning, Alex. How are you?
Hello there, gentlemen. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Now, you guys, have you been to the State Fair ever? And are you guys really going to think about going to the State Fair, as you were joking about yesterday?
That is the plan. I've never been, but I would love to go. But I have to play host because most of these guys haven't spent any time here besides just the little time they played here. So I have to be a host as the most tenured Dallas, Metroplex person around.
Do you remember your way around? Where would the A-Rod DFW tour take us?
Well, it would be Arlington and Dallas. And I didn't spend that much time in Fort Worth.
Okay.
But anything around, where the Mavs play, downtown, all of that area, Highland Park, SMU, yep.
Now, would you be a fair rides guy? You're getting on the Ferris wheel, or a turkey leg, corn dog? What would your taste be there?
I would say no, but if I'm with my daughters, it would have to be a yes because they love rides and they love to, embarrass dad, and I get all dizzy in those rides. But yeah, with my daughters, yes.
See, I could see. We know Ortiz would participate. I could see you. Derek seems too serious for that. He's not gonna go on any Ferris wheel or anything silly, right?
I'm not sure. I think he would because he's got young girls as well. So, it's funny. Our kids will make us do anything.
Alex, did you think it was a mistake for Bochy to throw Scherzer last night, and would you do it again if the series calls for it?
Yeah, I would, and I don't think it was a mistake because the thing about a 7-game series in the postseason, and we talk about this often in the pre- and post-game, is going to come down to all 26 men. It's not going to be a one-man crew, even a 2 or 3 or 4-man crew. You need all 26. And whoever's in the roster has to be ready to spike it up and ready to play. I thought Scherzer threw the ball better than his results, and I think he will be better as you go deeper into the playoffs and hopefully for the Rangers, the World Series.
One more thing on that. Do you think a long layoff, because it's been several weeks for him, do you think that's worse for a pitcher or a hitter this time of year?
That's a great question. I think a hitter. I think, I'm not a big fan of simulated game and this and that. Whenever they say that, just throw it out the door. It doesn't mean anything. Nothing's going to match the October intensity, being in that building with those great fans, making noise in the postseason. So it's a whole different level you got to ramp up for. And my fear always for players, they try to put a little bit too much effort, and that's when they get hurt themselves. So a hitter being off, you completely feel like you got to go back to spring training and start again. But the Rangers have done a beautiful job of this.
Alex Rodriguez here on The Fan. Now, you picked Rangers in 7. Can you just kind of detail for us, give us some of your reasons why you had them taking out the champs?
I think it's a heavyweight battle, right? I think these are the best 2 teams in the American League. I think the Rangers are hungry. I think they're well managed. I love Chris Young, Michael Young. They have baseball people all around. And I think Bochy's a guy that understands how to finish. And I think at this time of year, they're playing as hot and as healthy as you're going to be.
Hey, Rod, I think tonight's a must-win. Obviously it's a must-win for the Houston. You don't want to go down 3-1. But I even think for the Rangers it's must-win. Losing 2 straight and then having to face Verlander and then go back to Houston. Do you think this is a must-win for Texas too?
I don't know if it's must, but it's definitely a vital game for the Rangers. And I'll tell you why. Because the Astros have been in this position for the last 7 years. They feel very comfortable on the road. They feel comfortable playing behind 2-1 in a series. They've been here and done that. And they love and embrace being the villain. This is a new chartered territory for this Rangers team. And I feel they have more pressure to get to the promised land and to win than the Astros. The Astros are playing with the house's money at this point.
Alec, do you still feel like, sorry, Bobby, do you still feel like in traveling around covering baseball and talking about it that they still have that hatred towards them, the Astros, and that the whole scandal still hasn't been forgotten by crowds that they visit?
I think so, especially in New York. Look, you're talking about someone that, from personal experience, when I went on the road, I got booed everywhere, and I took it as a compliment. I think the Astros have taken a similar approach. But I do feel that outside of Houston, the whole world's going for, Texas Rangers to advance.
One more thing on that, like, because you're right, you did get booed in a lot of places. How do you really? I know you say you use it as like motivation, but like, how do you handle like dealing with being a villain? I mean, that's gotta that can't be fun, right?
Well, I played for 23 years, and from the minute that I signed to Texas, that I left Seattle, I mean, I was public enemy number one, and you have no choice, right? I mean, either you fold. But it's very much like the Dallas Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. I love Jerry Jones, Michael Irvin, the history. I'm good friends with Micah Parsons, who's been to my office many times, and I see him. I'm going to see him today and mentor him. Right. So you either love the Cowboys or hate the Cowboys. But bottom line, every time they play on Sundays, you have 30 million people watching.
Alex, you were a guy who came up very, very young, obviously a highly touted prospect. You were 18 years old the first time you got on the field. We've all been really impressed with Evan Carter just turning 21 and just looking as composed as he has been at the major league level. How difficult is that as somebody who played at a high level at a young age? How difficult is that to step in at a young age and play against these guys who have 10 to 12 years of experience?
It is very difficult, and Carter's making it look so impressive, and a lot of credit deserved to the front office of the Texas Rangers to identifying a player that looks like he's a top 5 drafted player, and I believe he's number 50th. He's also a valedictorian. He was going to go to Duke. Both of his parents educators. I mean, this guy is the complete package, and it's not only how poised he is. We call him 3-2 Carter, but it's the fact that he runs like the wind. He has a great attitude. You see his interview afterwards. This guy can be here, leading the way for the Rangers for the next decade or decade and a half, which is exciting for the fan base.
Houston's done a pretty decent job, keeping him off base in this series compared to what Baltimore and Tampa did. Have you noticed them do anything differently, or is that just kind of the adjustments that teams make to young players?
I think is the latter. And, last night I made the point that, you got to throw these batting averages out the door. They don't mean anything because these are such short samples. You take a guy like Tucker, who's been struggling, hitting 125, but last night he had a double, he had an RBI, he had 3 walks, he saw the ball better. Trust me when I tell you, when the Astros, when the Ranger pitchers are facing a guy like Tucker that has a 125, they're not worried about that. They see a very dangerous hitter there, a guy that can drive in 100 runs and hit 30 home runs and play Gold Glove defense. The batting average is great for the media narrative, but it has nothing to do with reality.
Alex, what's something that you really, analytics took over sports everywhere. You have people who love it, people who hate it. The TNT guys make fun of it all the time. What's something that you learned from analytics that you didn't practice or preach before?
Honestly, not that much. I mean, if you pay attention, you have analytics, you have pattern recognition, and you have experience. But you really need a hybrid of both. And the blind spot that analytics has, it tells you information and data going back, but it's not forecasting the future. And a lot of these analytics, because the people making decisions don't know anything about baseball, they have nothing else but to lean on data. What else do they have? And that's a concern. And that's why when you see mistakes with contracts today, you go, wow. People would not miss by so much because they had to actually go out and trust their eyes and watch the game and watch behavior and watch character like this young man Carter has. That's what we're talking about. And sometimes analytics can't measure, Michael Young, one of the great players of Ranger history, had the slowest heartbeat. But was it talent alone? No, you could say that there were a lot of people that were more talented than Michael Young. But how many people had the character, the makeup, the will, the loyalty, the character? Not too many.
And you played for a lot of old school managers, Lou and Joe and stuff, and these are 2 real old school managers here. Is it one of those things where maybe the postseason you throw the analytics away and they're more valuable over the course of 162 games?
Yes, I think that's right. I think you decrease it in half during the season, and you can almost get rid of it completely in the postseason. And the reason why is you're trying to stay away. The Rangers and Houston, what's coming back now is a little bit more small ball. I love the fact that the starting pitcher is back. This whole nonsense about a starter, and then you give the ball to the bullpen for 8 innings. I don't know when that happens. Maybe when you have a 50-man roster, but to me, it's garbage. You got to have starting pitching. You got to get deep into the games. Bullpens can get you, 9, 10 outs max nightly for the whole month. But to expect for the entire month of October for the bullpen, no matter how good they are, to get you 18 or 20 outs per night is not sustainable. Those guys in the bullpen are not as good as starters. That's why they're in the bullpen. So over time, if you don't trust your starters to get you into the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning, you're not going to be world champs.
Talking with 3-time AL MVP Alex Rodriguez, MLB on Fox coverage. We were watching Seager last night. He popped up several of those pitches. 10 out of the 11 pitches he saw were 4-seam fastballs. He's been struggling in this series. Is he pressing a little bit? What do you think about his plate approach, and how would you approach things in Game 4 if you were Seager?
Well, if you're Seager, you're getting some good pitches to hit. You're a little bit swinging on the edges and expanding the strike zone a little bit. And it looks like he's gone a little rotational, maybe thinking a little bit, let me see how far I can hit it versus let me see how solid I can hit it. And the latter is the much better approach. And then you have to have somebody in the third spot hitting behind Corey to get hot. So you force the opposition to pitch to Corey a little bit more.
Is the easy comparison for Jordan David Ortiz?
I mean, we had him on the post game last night, and Alvarez is a lot better looking, but they don't look like twins. And we sat them next to each other, and we did a little Spanglish Poppy translating. It was must-watch TV, and I was butchering it as well. So it was a good post game. But he's an incredible guy, and his personality doesn't fit the aura around the Houston Astros the last 7 years. He's very quiet. He's distinguished, low voice, carries a big stick, and a very nice young man.
If you took Arizona out of it, how would you power rank the 3 remaining teams as contenders, Alex? Would you go Philly, Texas, Houston? Have you made up your mind with the way the ALCS is going? Does Philly look like the favorite right now?
Yeah, I think it's Philly, Rangers, Astros. And the reason why I put the Rangers, I picked them in 7, and I picked them a little bit ahead of the Astros with 2 caveats. Number one, Scherzer has to be better in his next start and keep getting his arm strength. Remember, it's almost like a spring training start yesterday for him in the ALCS, where you got to get his pitch count up. That's one. And then number 2 is you got to stay away from the weakest part of the bullpen. Starters have to get you into the 6th inning, so then the Rangers can, get you 9 outs, 10 outs max from the bullpen.
Last thing, your business acumen has obviously been out there. You talked about meeting with Micah today, Cowboys connection. Have you talked business with Jerry Jones? Is there some memorable meeting or advice that you've taken from him, or just a business piece of advice that you would pass along to Micah or other aspiring entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Jerry Jones has been a great friend and mentor. I absolutely love him. I was at the Star yesterday. I'm his partner in Cowboys Fit, which is our gym business. And I remember when we were about to buy the Mets 3 years ago, and thank goodness we lost to the great Steve Cohen, who's doing a great job with the Mets. But and when that fell through, the opportunity to buy the Timberwolves and be partners with Mark Cuban was a great thing for me. But here's the advice that I got and what I've learned from Jerry Jones. He said, Alex, I've never worked harder today than I did when I first bought the team, many decades ago. And he's the best hospitality person that I've ever met. He's the greatest owner alive. And what he's done for this Cowboys, he puts in the work. He has the passion, the discipline. and the whole Jones family is synonymous with Dallas and the NFL. And I remember when I called him for the Mets, it was supposed to be a 10-minute call. We were on for about an hour and a half, and him giving me great advice on how to be an owner in today's era. And I'll never forget that.
Hey, man. Thank you so much. We're not going to get A-Rod. He's not going to do local radio. He's too big for that. So we're shocked. We're blown away. This was incredible. Thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll see you at the fair.
You got it. Hey, you guys do a great job, and keep up the good work, and thank you. Let's enjoy some more baseball.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez on the Boomer Jacks Bar and Grill Hotline. Pay.
Well done. I hope you're winning in Vegas this morning.
Is he awake?
Not a chance.
7:15.
Not a chance.
7:15.